Emotions.
Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host, Chris Hopper, at Beerfield Hop on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Hop134 on Threads, which I honestly haven't logged into in weeks. Gentlemen, at Beerfield Theory, at Ryan Miner _FFP, joining me this lovely evening. How are you two?
Oh, well, with all my DJ Moore points, feeling pretty good. And Justin Fields points.
All my DJ Moore points are on the bench.
Oh, I know. I feel for you. This is what happens when you play in so many leagues. You just have shares of people everywhere. Then they just almost always play.
One's going to go off or there's something you can't play. And this is just a reminder that sometimes even if your process is right, like, man, I hate how the Bears offensive line stacks up against Washington's front four. The results might be different.
Yeah, this is aging well. Said no one ever.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
It's like I'm excited because I got DJ Moore going in the league, then I hate it because I'm also going against DJ Moore in the league. So I mean, if he gets 504 receiving yards, I'd be pretty happy. But
504 receiving yards,
16 receptions, 16 targets. He's catching everything.
Just did another tush push.
Tush push.
17-3 Bears, by the way, your Thursday night football check-in. They're off to a hot start, hence the DJ Moore talk. He is 130 some odd yards and 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. So that's going well for me on my bench.
Going well for me and a lot of. I think I played him everywhere. I'm going to take this because Bears have a lot to root for the first 3 weeks of the year, and game 4 and game 5 look pretty good.
Indeed. All right. Today's show, we are going to go through the news like always. And for the recap, we're going to kind of do a quarter season recap. We've teased this a little bit. So we're going to go through, look at leaders, look at best and worst defenses against positional groups, kind of set where we're at a quarter of the way through the season. Maybe a little talk on if we think it'll keep up or not. We got some trades, at least one trade to talk about, which was a very, very interesting one. Dan and I have already kind of pre-discussed because we're in that league. Ryan has not.
I think 2. I think I want to talk about the one that went down last night. More so not the conversation of the player, the 2 players involved, but more so on how to assess, how to appropriate value.
That was the one I was talking about.
I'm talking about the one that happened last Friday. I'm talking about the big dynasty.
What happened last Friday?
The one with the package of young players and picks.
Oh, I'll be interested to relearn what that was because I've forgotten already.
All right,
I've forgotten.
All right,
I guess we can talk about 3 because I guess we can talk about the redraft trade I made earlier this week too, which you all and myself included just kind of said, it's fine.
That's fine.
We'll talk about the reasons behind that. So we'll do some trade analysis because that's always fun to talk about. And then we'll do a quick preview of this week. We got some bye weeks, so we'll throw some potential streamers your way. Games to target, things to not target. I thought he caught that. But yeah, before we do that, we're drinking.
What's fueling Beerfield?
Anything feel better than a fresh new pair of Hey Dudes?
Dude, so I drunkenly ordered some 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck, dude. I remembered but kind of forgot. I get home, I see them show up, and I'm like, oh my God, those are my new dudes.
Yeah.
Got some new sneaker dudes and some new walk around loafer style. Oh my God.
What loafer style did you get?
I got some nice navy blue ones. And then I got some of the sneakers just to help with
canvas, socks.
Dude, I think it's socks. I think it's socks. I don't remember the names.
Got socks too, but man, I tried on a pair of Halos, which are the ones made out of recycled water bottles. Those damn things are comfy and they're light. That's gonna be a summer shoe.
All dudes are comfy.
Yeah, well,
you guys are fucking old.
Those are exceptionally comfy.
Dude, How are you not rocking Hey Dudes, Ryan? You are literally the target fucking like
You're the target audience.
it's all of
Uh,
us. And I don't
I'm-
even like it's young
Don't put me in your guys' category.
business
I'm freaking-
casual.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's where I'm off at is the
it's
business
it's
casual.
literally pre New Balance. Like it's the slick. Don't have
I
to
hate New
tie your
Balances,
shoes.
too.
You know how
I-
much I hate.
I don't
tying
tie my shoes. I don't tie shoes.
You don't. They don't even have fucking laces.
Mine
They're
have
just-
laces, but
they're
I've
just
never
there.
tie them.
Oh man, you gotta get you some dudes.
Yeah, they're
Fucking
they're the greatest.
change your
thing ever.
life.
Yeah,
Change your life.
they do. I
If-
held out
if
for a
you
little
don't-
bit. They change your life.
And no, people, we're not sponsored by Hey Dude.
No.
We're not big
It-
enough to be sponsored.
That would be
by Hey
cool,
Dudes.
but not a chance.
That would be yeah. Also, we're on time to sponsor a podcast with their
Oh,
I'm
right.
also
episode
on
four.
the-
Episode
on their
453. By
retirement
the way,
tour.
we got 47 weeks left.
their
Oh.
retirement tour.
I was gonna hold my foot up for the camera, but the camera's still not. The video capture is still not working because I'm lazy.
Oh no.
I actually forgot it was
okay.
broke after last episode and didn't do anything about it. So weird, it's still broke.
Hey, we're still talking about Hey Dudes. Can I put inserts in those shoes, or does it have its own sole that's
It's
stuck
got
in
his
there?
own, but I'm sure you can just take
You
them
can
out
put
and put your
inserts in
own
it.
in.
The-
Yeah.
One that's in it's like really, really thin, but you can put your own in there.
Yeah,
When
I
they're
need to put my
brand
own in
new,
there.
they're super nice. I mean, obviously, the older they get, the more worn down. But
Mhm.
mine are
I'm
fucking
really
great.
I'm really into my Vans. I can't help it.
I mean, you look like you would also
rock some Vans.
rock some Vans. You're wearing like
Backwards
what are
hats.
the other ones? Vans.
Backwards Jordan hats and
Yeah.
rosy red
What are the
cheeks.
other
Rock-
fucking rosy?
Rocking
Take-
the soul bat.
Take It Back Sunday t-shirt.
That's right. Oh,
I saw them not that long ago.
I haven't seen them in forever.
Saw them like a month ago.
Lucky.
I've never seen them. I've not seen
It's
them.
a good time. Good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
They still kick ass. I hadn't heard a lot of their newer stuff though. Their newer stuff is actually really good. Anyway, what are you drinking?
I'll start. I am drinking from Revolution out of Chicago. A caramel crisp. This is a caramel popcorn ale. This is in collaboration with Garrett's Popcorn Shop.
I'm so interested in that because if it tasted all like popcorn butter and diacetyl, I would absolutely
No,
hate
there's
it.
not.
But
There's absolutely no. So they describe it as a creme brulee style sweetness. That's also
I
a
didn't think
creme brulee like sweetness with a salty finish.
I didn't think Revolution would try to get the actual corn note in their beer because it's Revolution, but
Just use coconut.
it just scares me.
It's I'll give you my thoughts on it later.
Cool.
We'll talk about it later.
Cool.
I like where this is going.
Ryan, what do you got?
I have a beer that's hard to find. Very delicious.
I'm drinking Miller
Rare.
Lite.
I don't even know how I got it, but
It's probably a Bud Light.
it's
Sam
Sam Adams
Adams
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
Fine, it's a Bud Light of craft beer.
The Bud
Okay,
Light
fine.
Oktoberfest.
Oh God, again?
We mean
No,
again, it's
you
my
had
first
you,
one.
He had
you had the
the
Boston,
Boston
Lager
Lager
remaster.
remix,
That
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I also hate the Sam Adams.
The Bears just turn over the Commanders.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That
I
didn't
had
account
a-
get weird with me when I told them. I'm like, yeah, I really like. I love a lot of Oktoberfest besides Sam Adams. They're like, you hate a
That-
lot of things. I'm like, nope, just Sam Adams.
That's why I put it on here. I was like,
Apparently.
oh, Dan and Chris are gonna love this one.
I think Chris likes it. I'm the one that
I
tend
like
to
it.
be a little
I had one.
remiss to them.
I had one last weekend after drinking someone's Oktoberfest. I don't remember whatever one of them Talkology has on right now, and it was it didn't measure up. The craft one from whatever I had at Talkology. I wish I remember who that was now.
Was it Triptych?
was
Because all they
better.
fucking have is Triptych.
No, it wasn't Triptych. The Triptych they had was Larini and 2 IPAs.
Yeah, they
It wasn't
yep,
Triptych.
not gonna voice. No, anyways,
But
I had a
Yeah.
pretty bad one on Tuesday night.
did you?
That was it. It was some brewery out of St. Louis that the guys I play poker with love. He was like, "This is my favorite one. I can't get out here," and I had it, and it was
Can you tell me whose?
I don't remember who it was. It was not good though. He loved it. He was like, "This is great." And I tried it, and it's very sweet.
Yeah.
And it like you had it in a growler can. So I'm like, I don't know how long you have it. Some beers don't hold up. Some breweries don't
Yeah.
package them well enough that they barely hold up for more than a day.
Right.
It didn't come off flat. It's just I
Just
thought
too
it sucked.
sweet. Yeah. Totally understand.
Yeah.
All right. I am drinking Schlafly's No Bounds Brown, so I'm going away from Oktoberfest this week. It's also brown ale season, which is one of my favorite beer styles. So they're drinking their No Bounds Brown Ale, Schlafly out of St. Louis, Missouri. All right. News.
News.
All right, leading off with the biggest news of the week, Kyle Phillips returned to practice for the Titans after many weeks on IR. So, pay attention to that or don't.
I feel like you just put that in for me.
It was a
I don't know why I'm
change in
laughing.
status of a player that should be a starter. It's relevant.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown has missed 2 straight practices and is no guarantee to play in Week 5. Jameson Williams is back after having a suspension reduced thanks to a new agreement between the NFLPA and the NFL. So, Amon-Ra has been playing a bit banged up. So, they use not practicing. Keep an eye on that. With Jameson back, obviously, if Amon-Ra doesn't go, Jameson Williams and Josh Reynolds will be, both flex valued starts.
Dude, Sam Laporta.
And Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is going to go off.
Oh my God. That's his breakout game if Amon-Ra can't play.
And
Which I hope he does because, Eliminator League.
And David Montgomery. You should just be starting David Montgomery at this point.
You should just start a lot of your Lions players because,
Yeah,
they're scoring points at a pretty
good.
high rate.
Yeah.
I'm in my happy place with them.
You see Jared Goff call out Fitzpatrick? Did you see that clip?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
No, what happened?
Fitzpatrick said he was a poor man's Matt Ryan, and Goff heard it. So when they had him on, he was like, "Yeah, I didn't know. I've never considered myself a poor man's anything, but I feel like I'm playing pretty well."
Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong, but I love it.
No.
like a poor man's Matt Ryan went to a Super Bowl and played at an MVP level, and Matt Ryan won an MVP. So I mean, it makes sense.
Well, I mean, Goff's been to a Super Bowl, just didn't play on an MVP level. So there you go.
Nope, not in that game.
Matt Ryan light. It's like he did admit Matt Ryan's not a bad person to be compared to, but I didn't know it was a poor man's anything.
That was epic.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Speaking of, there's Fitzpatrick, and his shirt is very Partridge Family levels of awesome.
Roshan Johnson has been ruled out.
Oh,
and I'm scared.
How terrible. Jonathan Taylor's been activated from IR, full participant in practice. The contract situation was an off-season issue, and he's just looking to play some football. You guys can argue Taylor and Moss and how that all matters or doesn't.
I don't think it matters at all. JT all the way. Fire him up.
Yeah, Moss is nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, I would just hold him on the bench right now, just because.
No,
Moss
don't drop him.
Don't drop him.
Don't drop him.
Taylor,
We'll see.
I mean-
We'll see what type of workload they give Taylor this week.
Yeah, but
I mean, I'm just seeing his rush percentage dropping, so.
Yep, but don't drop him. Just
Don't drop him.
Just
Don't
hold
drop him.
because they could keep it split back. Colts could be playing fuckery games and may not give Taylor a full workload. So
I mean, if they're not going to sign him, they might as well run him to the fucking ground.
yeah, wait.
Taylor wants to play because he wants to play well enough to get a new contract.
So just
So
wait.
they're locked in step. He also hasn't played in 4 games. This is perfect. He can start fresh.
Yep. So just pay attention. Cooper Kupp back at Rams practice. Listed as limited, but practicing in full as he is likely back. Will be back this week in a full go. So, we've talked about this a lot, and really as we've been talking about Puka Nacua, you watch. I think you're fine with Puka this week. We don't know if they're gonna have Kupp on a pitch count or not. We know that Puka getting 20 targets a week wasn't sustainable, but even if you half his target volume, he's still a very, very, very usable piece. And we've seen this offense support multiple wide receivers before. So just,
touchdown, Cole Kmet.
pay attention.
Of course.
You're not out on Puka. You shouldn't be out on Puka. A rookie that showed what he showed in the first few games is valuable. We'll talk a lot more about him later. But Cup's back, and he's going to demand target volume. So just be interesting to watch, I think.
We'll see how much.
Yeah.
I'm still very much you're playing Puka regardless. Cup, 30 years old, has had a lot of lingering injury issues. Kind of that's part of his career.
Yeah.
So dominant, and obviously Rams are not going to not use him, but
that's my argument is that he's going to.
It's hard for me to see McVay want to go away with how good of a coach and play design McVay is. Like it's so tough for me to see them just.
That's why I think that both guys seeing,
Woods and Cup are both 1,000-yard receivers. So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they were both top 12 receivers. So both guys seeing 8 to 10 targets a game is not out of the realm of possibility. We know in today's NFL, like the offenses that have supported multiple wide receiver ones is pretty limitless at this point. So it just takes the ceiling out of both of them a little bit. But
by the dip if one comes, I guess.
Yep. More on Puka later. Pat Freiermuth gonna miss 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. We'll talk about streaming options. But because he was a very popularly drafted tight end in the late-ish rounds. So
yeah.
But 2 to 3 weeks for him with injury. Odell Beckham returned to practice on Wednesday. He ran a route on all of Jackson's dropbacks in week 1. So be interested to see how that impacts Flowers and Andrews and how they run the offense. It may be better for him. Again, it's just another thing. We only saw 1 week, and Flowers was fine in that week. So.
Flowers very, very target heavy that week.
Yeah. Keaton Mitchell's returned to practice for Baltimore. This is a guy that I've seen a lot of circles saying grab and stash because of Hill and because of his athleticism and the position the Ravens are in with Gus not really taking off and Hill not really taking off. It's not really a secret that you should grab and stash this guy anymore, but it's a popular take that's out there. I don't disagree.
I've been on him for a while.
Should be.
Actually,
yeah.
I even liked him coming in just based on how his speed. Like I compared him to like a Chris Johnson light, like the way he moved on the East Carolina, because East Carolina, the way he moved on there, like he just had that like 0 to like 100 electric speed.
Just the 88th percentile burst score and 99th percentile 40 yard, 4.37.
Yep.
40 and same burst score. That's
pretty damn
home
good.
Run. As Ryan mentioned, Chris Johnson line, that is a home run hitting athleticism.
We'll probably get some opportunities. So in the waiver wire for running backs is pretty barren.
Running backs in general feel very barren.
Just grab one and go.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
Yep. Everything's 0 RB that isn't CMC.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Forget the amount of points he's like. Look at all the first round players are like, no, they're not hitting. It's like unless you had
wide receivers are hitting like you're supposed to. It's running back.
Well, Justin Jefferson's hitting like he's supposed to. He was either the
Hill has, and Diggs has, Lamb and Brown. Like there's like the top end receivers are besides Jamar Chase, which isn't his fault right now.
But CMC and Jefferson have been the ones that have been consistent week in, week out. They're over getting 20 plus points a week.
Mm-hmm. Fuck, Jefferson almost broke a record. He had 1 more yard, he would have broke a record. Week 3.
Yep.
1 more.
Breece Hall is off a pitch count, so they've removed that. He should be a full go. Hopefully, relegating Dalvin Cook to change of pace duties.
So fucking happy.
The
amount of carries they have not given this backfield is also a testament to how much they don't want to give the ball to Cook and Carter and them.
Mm-hmm.
Breece wheels up, best matchup you can ask for to get the Broncos. Love it. Has there been any defense that has collapsed the way Denver's has? They
What
were
defense?
an historically good defense last year.
Yeah,
Historic-
They were.
They are a historically bad. Like, that's fucking nuts to see a defense collapse that much.
hard.
Like that hard. And I don't know how many changes. Like, they're not ahead of any significantly big changes. Like they try to add Randy Gregory, which was a complete flop, and he
Yeah, they
got cut
released
already.
him.
Yeah, like fuck all these players that were supposed to be added to stop Mahomes in the West. Most of them are gone. All of them are gone.
Yeah,
And he didn't
J.C.
play Mahomes
Jackson,
yet.
got shipped back off to New England. Like,
and he was great as the worst cover corner in the league.
he was god off. Like, I've never seen a defense flip that much. And
No.
like that's historic. Like, that is so shocking to me
Yeah,
of how bad they were, of how bad they've been this year. And it's not like they played against great teams. Washington, Chicago, Raiders. Did they play? I don't remember who they played. Raiders week 1. Like, it's just it's nuts to me.
yeah, they've been really, really bad. How did we get on the Broncos?
We're talking Brees Hall, and he's playing the Broncos this week.
Ah,
And I've been thinking about that all day. I just wanted to say
about how bad they are. Yeah,
about how historically bad they are.
no,
And how the Brees Hall buy window's going to close here soon.
Well,
Bad. Yeah.
yeah,
The offers I've seen, man. People think it's still open. No.
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 He's about to go off this week. It's going to be huge.
Oh God, I fucking hope so. I have him in so many places. He was a value in my opinion.
The Denver thing was really, really interesting to me because people were fading them before the season started, and I was very, very much like, why are people fading them? I don't get it. They were historically good last year. Joke's on me.
I mean, I don't even think people that were fading them thought they'd be this bad.
No,
I blame Sean Payton.
I'm good with
Just
that.
Fuck Sean Payton.
Totally good with that.
Yeah.
All right, last one. More of a discussion point. NFL insider Jordan Schultz reports the Panthers want to trade for a number 1 caliber wide receiver before the trade deadline. So, the discussion point here is, one, should
They had one.
Yeah, well,
Then they traded him away.
Yeah.
yeah. The discussion point here, though, I think is, one, should they? Because
I
they
think they should.
could be bad, but they do need to invest in Bryce Young. And two, who's even available that would qualify as a number 1 caliber wide receiver? Like, looking,
I had
across
one
some
come
of
to
these
mind.
Teams. Okay,
I have two come to mind.
I had one. Ryan, I've talked a bunch. What are yours?
I'm thinking the first one is going to be T. Higgins, just because that way the Cincinnati Bengals offense is
That's
already
the
looking.
obvious one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And then-
the obvious one.
And
then the other one is Jerry Judy.
This T.
The other one, yeah.
Well, yeah,
He's in his
especially-
final year this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
final
wondering
year.
is who's a rental, and especially for Judy, I don't think he is in his. Judy is not in his final year, but for Judy, they've got, what is that, Brandon?
Did they pick
Johnson
up
or
his fifth
Jackson
year?
guy or whatever?
Judy's no, they haven't picked
No.
it up.
Then he's in his final year.
Okay, that
Yeah.
At least I don't think they did.
that Brandon, whatever his name is it Brandon Jackson or Brandon Johnson? I can never remember.
I think it's
Oh,
Johnson.
they're Johnson.
Yeah, he's flashed a little bit that could make Judy expendable if they like him, and
The Broncos picked it up. Sorry.
they did. Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're good. I mean, I like him. Marvin Mims has been absolutely electric
Electric.
when he
Marvin Mims has
fucking
been good
gets
when he's-
targeted.
Yeah,
I guess is allowed to run routes. Like, oh my God.
But they all have like the same yards between like Mims, Sutton, and Judy.
Mims is
That's
averaging
weird.
like 25 yards a catch. He leads the team in yards, and
He has, like,
he's
3
playing
catches.
like 30 snaps a game. It's like, okay, I guess
It's unreal.
maybe he can't block very well, and he's just never in.
yeah.
I have no. There's just no excuse for it, in my opinion. But
He's just playing his Oklahoma skills, man. He's just, get
run
down there
deep.
somewhere. Yeah, he's on
Russ
there
is a
somewhere.
very, very good deep ball passer, so it does fit very well for him.
Yeah. It does. And those are probably the only two that do start, like, just looking up and down the league and what might hit me. Those are the only couple
I got
that
a under
strike me as available.
I got a under the radar one.
Okay.
And that's Rashad Bateman.
I thought that as I was looking up and down, I'm like, if they want to go for somebody that has number one potential that they might be able to buy low on that's kind of buried, Bateman is the guy.
This could be, there was mumblings in the offseason that him and management were getting along. He said his piece on Twitter about it. So there was a lot of buzz about him being moved pre-draft or maybe even during the NFL draft. That didn't obviously happen. They drafted Zay Flowers. They brought in Beckham, new offense, this, that, and the other. And Bateman just hasn't been able to stay healthy this year. He missed last week. He's logging, I think, limited snaps so far this week. So we'll see if he plays against Pittsburgh. But Bateman fits that model outside of, he'll have the option if they don't want to pay him next year, but he's not going to cost the first for them, which they don't have anyways. I don't like, he won't cost a second. I think you could probably get him for maybe a late day 2 or early day 3 pick. And as Hopper mentioned, that's the upside. He pairs well with Mingo with his skill set, and you have Adam Thielen there to help kind of
Thielen
mentor that too.
Terrace Marshall is actually getting a solid amount of target volume right now too.
Yeah, it's I like the move overall, not just for Bateman wise, but just the Panthers wanting to do what Chicago did with Fields last year, made the move for Chase Claypool, which obviously didn't work out at all, but wanting to support and build within that structure and give him veteran options, young options to build with, because it's shown success and it just, if for whatever Bryce doesn't work, then you already have a good nucleus in place for playmakers to build with. So
yeah. Yep, I agree. And then no, I don't see anybody else wanting to move somebody in season.
So someone posted and I mentioned Tyler Lockett. I didn't do any research into it.
That doesn't seem like a move.
Which is kind of where I end up leaning on anyways.
Carolina should make either, given where Lockett's at in his career.
He's not young, but
yeah,
it's more so, more veteran to put in a young room outside of Thielen. So
yeah, but you already have that in Thielen, and the idea is you want somebody that can grow with Bryce.
Yeah, and that again, I leaned off of it after I posted it. I'm like, it doesn't make much sense. And plus, why would Seattle, when they're trying to be more of a contender this year, and Lockett's been a big part of their offense? That's why I don't think the Bengals would move Higgins. He's like, they may not sign him. That feels more of a out of season move, or just let him walk. The Judy one feels like it because Judy's been linked to trade rumors all off season. He was linked and never moved.
Yep. And the other one that probably won't happen, given that they're 3-1, but if they weren't, would be Chris Godwin. He's got
Godwin, or yeah.
I mean, he's like Judy, has one more year left on his deal after this year. He's got some void years in there, but that's another guy that's 27 right now. So you got a few years of him to grow with it. But I don't know. Panthers they got to get somebody, and I agree with that. How they do it will remain to be seen.
For cost, yeah. That's why I like the Bateman one, which makes me sad, but the Bateman one feels like almost a perfect scenario.
It does. I agree.
Like an underwhelming performing player, not because he's been bad, because he's been hurt. Rifts with management. I'm able to get him for cheap-ish.
Yep. All right. Changing gears, I am going to sit back and shut up. Dan, you want to take us through some trade discussion?
All right. So, Ryan, we had a huge. All right. So, we're going to lead with the one that happened last night.
Actually, hold on. Can I stop you for a second? I just saw something that reminded me of something we should have mentioned in the intro. Rest in peace, Dick Butkus.
Yes. Oh, my God. Yes.
That was something I just saw before we came on the air. I didn't have it in the news. That's my bad. We should have led with that. But rest in peace to Bears legend Dick Butkus, who passed away today at 80. That's what I wanted to do before I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh,
All good.
moment of silence. Cheers, and raising a glass. All right. So we had some. We're gonna lead with the trade that happened last night because it'll help kind of lead into the one I had queued as, I guess I thought Hopper remembered but didn't. That happened last week. So Ryan, you'll love this because it involves the team. So we had a trade last night in my main home dynasty league that I run, that Hopper's in, and Amon-Ra was traded straight up, and you saw this because I queued it on Twitter too. Amon-Ra was traded straight up for Puka Nacua.
Oh, I saw this, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, come on.
So I posted it on there, and I didn't see the trade until all the comments came in because I think I was working. And it just caused a shitstorm in the chat, in our league chat.
I saw a lot of whoa, what the hell? This is the worst thing I've seen. And then I popped in and I'm like, okay, like
someone asked if it was like veto worthy. I'm like, no,
it's not.
What's veto? What was vetoes? Yeah, there's no such thing as veto worthy. Come on,
nothing. Literally, nothing's unless it's pure collusion. Nothing's veto worthy.
Yeah, that's Nacua is like what, wide receiver 3 right now. So
yeah, like this is dynasty, Ryan, too. By the way, it's dynasty.
Well, no, I get it's dynasty.
Yeah,
it's not veto
for
worthy.
me. It's in my quick comments it's not a problem with the players, and the person who made the trade for Puka even mentioned himself. It's just it's just a miscalculation of value. Like if you want to trade for Puka, like I understand completely. I've been trying to get him everywhere. If you have St. Brown and you're trying to trade for Puka, the last thing you want to do is trade out because you're misusing the value you have in St. Brown.
Yeah,
and knowing that you can get draft picks with them or players of draft pick equivalents with Puka to trade, along with Puka in that deal. So it's not the problem with the players involved. It's just, if you want to take a learning lesson from this, it's don't rush to just make a trade. And just have a better understanding of value and why a player is more valuable than another player, even if they're not on the same level of scoring points this season so far. It's
the goal of a trade is to make both teams better, ideally, right? And better now or better in the long term depends on where the team's at. But the idea is for both teams to get better. And the thing I have a problem with is that the best case for Puka Nacua
it's Amon-Ra
is
St. Brown.
An equivalent of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
He's literally new Amon-Ra right now.
That's the ceiling for that. And so you can have a personal preference towards a player, but you didn't do anything on the Puka side to make your team.
You got 18 months younger.
Better necessarily. You got 18 months younger. You could have gotten more, but in my opinion, you ended up a best case scenario even, and he was Austin because he listens and he, said he would tune in for this piece. To his credit, he said, worst case scenario is I end up with a better draft position because he didn't send any picks either. And that's true.
Thank God.
Thank God. That's true. And I definitely see the logic behind, Puka's on a historical pace.
Yeah.
And you can argue this year that could, all things considered, be an even trade. And if you believe in Puka more, you believe in Puka more. But I really think that at the end of the day, the best case scenario is that you look back on that trade and it's a nothing burger because it's even.
That's I mean, there's one thing to say because Puka is more of an outside receiver.
Yeah,
you can get a little more, I guess, bigger, touchdown upside value to that. Very minimal, but that's
you can. But you got
I'm not saying he'll get there. Yeah, it's more so if you want to try to find where the upside is.
And there's a lot of situational stuff too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Kupp nearing 30, Stafford nearing the end of his run. That offense could look totally different in 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
Goff on
the
the
time
other
bomb,
end,
basically.
still younger. ARSBs on an offense that's ascending into their window. So,
yeah. Ryan, you got any thoughts?
No, like I'm just sitting here looking at their stats, comparing them, and like basically, if you just go stat for stat wise, you're actually taking a loss by trading Puka Nacua for Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up. But that being said, with Cooper Kupp coming back, like Puka Nacua is not going to be a wide receiver one anymore. Like I just don't see it. But I can still see him being a wide receiver two. So to me, it's a wash, kind of like you guys already said, kind of trade. But I'd actually rather have the St. Brown side just because of
we'd all rather have the St. Brown side. Let's
St. Brown, and like, and it speaks to my next, once we transition to the other trade that I'll talk about, it's we still don't know what Puka, like what we're supposed to see from him for a longevity standpoint. He's played 4 games, historically start to 4 games,
really good games,
but he's played 4 games. St. Brown's been doing this for 2.25 season, including his breakout, which happened during the fantasy playoffs. Like,
yeah,
Puka is literally the new St. Brown because all people have been doing is arguing how to, like, he has day 3 draft capital, so people are still hinting on that. It's just the real deal. What happens when the starters return? Blah blah this and that. It's literally the same narrative that we had with St. Brown.
It's real, but
he's not going away. He is going to be productive. We just don't know what that looks like yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it again, it's more of a miscalculation of value, which is, if you can take anything from what we just talked about, it's understand the value of your players, for and first most, and don't try to screw yourself out of it because of a player that you like right now.
Yeah. And I don't know what the dynasty level of experience is there, but that is one of the hardest things for newer dynasty players to get a handle on, is how to, and we talked about this.
And he mentioned it in the chat too. Yeah. He has a hard time with value.
Yeah. And we talked about this when, with the Kupp trade while we were at the actual NFL draft and the shitstorm that caused. And it's just, newer dynasty players struggle to evaluate draft capital and to place appropriate value on draft capital. And that's a trade where you needed some draft capital coming back if you're the Amon-Ra side to make that, kind of level out. And I'm not talking like a first or anything like that, but a second probably would have leveled.
I would have started that offer because I truly believe Austin sent this first. Like that's a snap, except if you're Yanni, the other guy in this deal.
Oh yeah, it is for sure.
I would have started with Puka in the first. Like, you're aiming high. Yeah, and I think Puka in the first is still a very fair deal for Amon-Ra to be.
And if you settle on Puka in a second, then cool.
Yeah. I'll start with Puka in a second as my offer, but I'll still accept Puka in the first. Like
that's probably going to be somewhere around the middle of the draft, I think, or the middle of the round. So,
all right, so let's lead into the one that I've been teasing. So I made a trade in another league of record that Hopper's in. This one's been around for a few years. I'll just tell the trade. So I traded away Anthony Richardson, George Pickens, Tank Dell, and 224 firsts. One of them projected probably top 5 at worst, top 3. In return, I got Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, and a 24-second.
Wow.
This is also very decisive because people love to see big package deals. People love to see big names.
People love big packages.
People love big packages. They love it.
Especially on Sundays.
And this also sparked up a lot of conversation on both sides. A lot more than the one last night, obviously. But it was more so is I didn't offer this deal. So originally this deal was offered to me without Hurts in the deal, and it was a 25 first instead. I flipped that because I'm not moving Richardson without getting a quarterback in return. And I sent him back that counter. I didn't think he would accept it because this guy's team is very good. Moving Hurts and Jefferson made 0 sense to me, but he offered Jefferson in this deal, so I knew that he was available. And he accepted it. Some people loved it, some people hated it. A lot of people were more in between on it.
I was in between.
Yeah, I'd be in between it too.
The problem is, without knowing the rosters, this team looks very obvious as this is a win now team versus a team that's rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Like my entire goal this season was to use the wide receiver depth I had and to improve it. Well, I improved it tenfold. Losing Richardson and getting Hurts will probably be even at the end of the day, but Hurts has been doing this for a lot longer, and Richardson is still 3 games into his career. So a
he's
lot
already
to
been
be
knocked out
seen.
of the game too. So.
Yes, exactly. And again, concussions or whatever, but that's still maybe a little uneven. It's again, it's the person that I traded with that it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, he's got McCaffrey, he's got Kelsey, he's won a championship before with his core. He had such a good team. It's what does this trade what is the purpose of this deal? If your window should be now, like, if you're going to make trades, why not just trade away McCaffrey and Kelsey if you're looking for a retool? Because a rebuild makes no sense right now. You have the players you want to rebuild with. You have Hurts, top 3 dynasty quarterback, and you have Jefferson, who's the number 1, who's a top receiver in dynasty. Like, you have the pieces you would want. Why would you move why would you downgrade from Jefferson to Pickens and Dell, who, yeah, it's great. They've shown good promise so far, especially Dell. But again, 3 games into his career when this trade was made. And the 2 firsts is wash because you don't know what he's going to do with them. It was a pretty huge trade when it happened. And if you guys I'll shut up. You guys can give your thoughts.
If I remember,
so what are the first? Oh, go ahead.
No, you do it.
So the first 2 round picks, what are they?
So they're both 24 firsts. So they're mine. Mine's one of them, and obviously projected late is the goal. And the one that I also gave them is a projected probably top 3.
Whose was it?
Corey's.
So
her roster is pretty rough. Like,
oh yeah, no,
obviously, top 5 at worst for him for this guy.
I remember now. That was my take. Was that it's a top. You got a top. You were looking at
coming
back. Most
probably
likely.
Caleb or Marvin Harrison or Drake May if things end up the way that I think a lot of people think they will be.
Right.
That's what you're looking at now.
Okay. That sounds better.
So it's gonna look. I think in people's eyes, they see draft picks and they immediately want to side with all these young players. The point of making deals like this is to get to players' levels of Hurts and Jefferson. That's
how you do it. Yeah.
That's how you want to hit those guys. You had that guy, then you traded him. Like, the one thing that he doesn't have is depth, but you're in a win now mode. Like, the whole point is to get pieces to help you win a championship, and that doesn't help you win one.
Yeah. And that goes into just knowing where your team is. It's another thing about that's more, if you put the value in a vacuum, it's probably okay. But I mean, I think it is okay, but not knowing but once you factor in the rosters and, where the teams are and what should be going on, it's kind of like, okay, why'd you do that?
Yeah. I mean, this is also, and I don't mean to pick at him. He's done very well in this league. It's also the same person that traded Josh Allen away for Josh Jacobs in a package deal.
Mm.
And a super flex. I'm like, you have Allen, Hurts, and Jefferson as your core with McCaffrey and Kelsey. Like, you have like a dream,
great spot.
Win now, and you like
you threw it all away.
I saw the Allen deal come through. I think it was really late off season, like in August at some point. I was like, what? Why? Like, I get you want an RB2, but man, peanuts. That's just, again, understanding value and have a plan.
Mm.
Like, a lot of the worst things you can do is just get caught up in hype and then lose all train of thought as to why you're building the team the way that you're building your team, and don't just ruin it because of some hot names.
Right.
And plus, people like to kick it, love to kick the can because they want more and more picks. Like, it's just like, they don't want to take time to watch their team develop. It's like, you know what, if I get that pick, if it's number 3, or it could be number one. I could be getting Caleb Williams, but okay. So
That's not even guaranteed. Like right now, it's not. He hasn't declared yet.
Say it gets worse, and then all of a sudden it doesn't look as good. Like how we are all hyping the 2024 pick, or not 2024, but 2023 picks.
Look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was deemed the greatest fucking prospect of the world. And I promise you right now, he's not lived up to the hype that he got. And in fact, he's looked pretty
average.
Pretty below average so far to start the year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
But in all honesty, I'd give him credit because his receivers did drop a lot of touchdowns. So his stats would look a lot better if they didn't drop those touchdowns.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
But yes,
drops happen on every
I'm still
team.
behind him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has like 4 or 5 touchdowns that have been dropped.
Oh yeah, it's been bad. It's been a little rough for Trevor. And I'm not saying that, Mr. Lawrence ain't gonna be able to be fine. It's just don't fall too in love with the allure of what a player might be.
Exactly, because anytime you do that, you overtrade for it, and it's just like Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I think you originally had that pick, and I think you traded it away, if I remember correctly. And
I got this pick 2 years ago in a deal that I traded away Russell Wilson for. Like I got lucky in this deal. It was last year. I've had a lot of picks in this league, and I was trying to consolidate them into actual players that are going to be productive. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I win a championship, but I don't have any first round picks now in that league. a lot of seconds, and also trying to get Puka.
Yeah. Hey, just trade all your seconds up for a first.
Yeah, right. It's also a IDP league, so more value being pushed on,
which is fun. You can build through defense.
Oh man, I love
second rounders.
I love IDP because you can hide a bad positional group on offense with good IDP players. It's
oh yeah.
I've been learning a lot.
I've been really more into IDP.
I want more leagues. Oddly enough, I want more IDP leagues.
All right, one more trade to discuss. I want to talk redraft trade. The one I made earlier this week, and this is not a situation where it was one side's bad, the other side's bad. This is a strategy thing because it was very meh. The trade was, what was the trade?
Hold on. You texted to us, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at. I think it was ETN and McLaurin for Olave, or was it?
It was you sold Kyron.
Oh, no.
You sold Haya McLaurin. It was McLaurin and HN.
It was McLaurin and HN for Olave is what it was. So this is about trading from surplus to get better at a deficit. So that particular team, you look at HN blowing up. What do you do? Well, okay, I got a team at that point that has 5 top 15 running backs on it. Can only start 3. You got 5 top 15 running backs, but no receiver that's higher than the wide receiver 27. I had Devonta Smith, but wide receivers 2 and 3 were both 27 or lower. So, okay, what do I want to do? Trade from surplus to get better at wide receiver. I had to throw what was my current wide receiver 2 in there to get it done, but that's okay because what I'm getting back is an upgrade on that position. From a player that was
for one deal.
From a player that was essentially going to ride my bench, not my bench, but he wouldn't ride my bench every week, especially if he continues to blow up. But somebody's going to be riding my bench that I don't feel good about riding my bench when I've got Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams and forget who the other one was on that squad.
HN.
No, it was HN at the time. You're right. Well, no, there were 4. But I still have 4 top 15 backs on that. Hold on.
Is this the Finkel League?
No,
I didn't think so.
Oh yeah, Swift.
I got
Swift on there.
I got Swift on there, right? So Swift and Jacobs and Henry and Kyron, and after I did that, I got Jaleel McLaughlin off waivers too. So we'll talk about that here in a minute because Javonte is trending towards potentially not playing. So
he's probably going to be out for at least a week.
Yeah.
It's what I've been hearing.
Right. And even then, he hasn't looked great. So this is a situation where you could see a shift there. But in any event, the idea, and this is what you really should be doing if you're looking at trades right now, trade from surplus, find somebody that has a deficit where your surplus is, see if you can match it up that way, and upgrade it, where your deficit may be. Because that's a trade that makes both teams better. He was in the market for a running back. I had 5 in the top 15. I was in the market for an upgrade at wide receiver. He had, I think, 3 in the top 20 or 4 in the top 20. So you can make a deal happen there. I didn't get his wide receiver one. He didn't get my top back, but you can play it. So that's just the strategy discussion. Let's hit a beer review, and then we'll get into some of the recaps and stuff.
Beer review.
So what I don't know about this out of bounds, no bounds brown ale, if it's supposed to be an English or an American, tastes a little more English to me. The difference between the two is American browns are going to be hoppier. English browns are going to be more caramely and chocolatey. This one has a very good amount of caramel to it. It's got some of like that light caramel sweetness going on from the malts. It's got a good bready note, a good toasted note on the back end. Gives just maybe a hint of roastiness too, kind of like a dark chocolate that's there underneath that sweetness. A little bit of hop bittering, not so much in the way of aroma or anything like that, which makes me think this is more English. But yeah, overall, it's a little bit more caramely than I prefer, but it's still really well done. So I'm a fan. Khalil Herbert's on his way to the medical tent now after Roschon Johnson being.
Yeah, the Herbert injury was off of a low throw
and a dive backwards.
Adjustments. Yeah, it looked like he either twisted up his knee. The way that it landed looked like he twisted up his knee. So hopefully nothing serious.
And Deonta Foreman's inactive. So
Justin Fields be going well over the 8.5 carries now that I didn't want him to go over.
Yeah, right. Because with Deonta Foreman inactive and Johnson and Herbert both going off, that leaves Travis Homer.
Well, at least Deontay will be active next week.
Yeah, probably.
And probably starting if there's any significant time missed by
if Herbert's
Roschon or Herbert.
Yeah, if Herbert's able to keep playing. But yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll keep you updated for the 69 listeners.
Yep.
69.
Nice. All right.
Giggity.
Dan, go ahead.
All right. So again, I am drinking the caramel crisp. It doesn't say on the website if it's a brown ale. It just says ale. The website has it as just says ale on it. 450 pounds of Garrett popcorn, brown sugar, rye malt, lactose, and kosher salt. I am not a fan. It's when I first poured it, there was some metallic taste to it, so I let it open up and breathe for a bit. That thankfully went away. Very, very salt finish, very dry. And just a very off flavored sweetness. Like it almost tastes fake, which could be because they put in 450 pounds of popcorn of this probably, caramel popcorn. It's done exactly the way they intended though. Like it's a beer that I don't particularly like that was done exactly the way that I thought it should and would be. And I'm sure there's a good crowd for it that would like this. It's just not for me. It sounded interesting. I was out in doing my route today for work and I saw it pop up. I'm like, fuck it, I haven't had Revolution in a while. So might as well give it a try. But if you like more of these style of beers, more of these style of ales, it's
desserty.
It's not even that it's desserty because it's not. It's sweet, but it's not like stout wise. So the body in itself, because it's not a heavy beer,
light.
You're not getting chocolate to it with the malts that are likely being used or being added. Because
so there's no balance.
Yeah, it's sweet very sweet and like a fake sweet almost to the salt finish. Medium-ish body. It's missing, I think, the thickness that if this was done in a stout or porter that you can also build with, but they're not trying to go for chocolate flavor or chocolate notes. So
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if they've done this a bunch or not. I don't know how well it's done in the markets or anything, but I'm sure people, if it's a 3-month season, so I'm sure people have enjoyed it. And maybe it's better on draft, but I still got 3 cans of it because 4-packs, but
Hooray. That's not like to build your own like 6-packs. I try to do that sometimes. It's like I want to try this beer, but I don't want like 3 other ones, or I don't want 6 other ones.
The only problem with
normally I would
six
do
packs
that.
is everyone around here is like, here's the shit that's not selling. Let's split it into a build your own 6-pack.
Well, that and there's a cost that it generally starts with. I love places that would just sell singles.
Yeah.
Like don't matter. Like I truly wish more breweries would incorporate the 2-packs, especially in stouts and barrel aged beers, but it gets kind of infuriating when it's I have to buy a 4-pack of random.
The funny thing is, like my local grocery store used to have like build your own 6-packs, and I'd look at the shelf and I'm looking at the individuals. I'm like, it's $9.99 if I build a 6-pack, or I can buy the regular 6-pack for $12.99. So I just grab 6 off the shelf and be like, all right, I'm gonna build this 6-pack for $3 less. So
right.
I think everyone else started doing that, so they stopped doing that.
Yeah, you got to be careful when if you're a place of business doing some sort of discounted mix your packs. All right, Ryan.
Like, they don't count it. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll take it.
Right.
So I am drinking Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It's hearty and smooth. It is they said Marzen. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
All right. So it's which kind of gives it a caramel. I feel like
Märzen.
We're American, so Marzen. We pronounce
whatever you
guys wrong.
What do you guys say on that side of the pond?
Yeah, Märzen.
But yeah, it's last year it seemed like it was a little bit more caramely. This year it doesn't seem as caramely. It's kind of more like it has a caramel hint to it, but it's more smashable in a way because like I'm already at my second one and it's already almost gone. So it's very smooth, very easy to drink, and goes down very quickly. Which is probably why I have red cheeks, but it's not.
Yeah. No, I mean it's
that's just my normal look.
It's definitely the most well known and sought after Oktoberfest beer for the masses in the States. Sam Adams, I mean, I would sell a metric shit ton of it. And the only one that would sell post October. It's definitely on the I know it's a bit on the lighter side when it comes to most of the American Märzen style Oktoberfest, which we need more fest beer. Like let's be real, Hopper. I think you agree.
There's one in Cincinnati.
We need more fest beer.
We do.
We need more light and bready. But I may not like it. It's not my favorite Oktoberfest, but the masses do. Man, people love that Sam Adams Oktoberfest. My God.
Yes, they do.
They love it.
I'm one of them.
You're the masses.
I got a 28-pack of it. So,
all right. Interesting. Let's move on. You got a 28-pack of it?
Yeah, they sold it at BJ's. I was like, 28? Yeah.
Is that like a Costco style place you bought it from? Or Sam Adams
like
style?
They're from the East Coast. They're starting to move further west. So
okay. We've been approached by Sam
way.
Adams at Costco like that way. That like specific packaging for them because it's
like
all bulk buy. Yeah.
It's like a case, but +4, but less than a cube, -4.
It's big, yeah. I want a 28-pack, please. I want 8 of 4 different beers.
And we want to say
22.
We want $28. That way, the people
7 of 4 different beers.
Steal out of it.
That's right. I want 7.
That's $1 a beer.
I want 4. I want 7 different beers, and I want 4 each, please.
Yes, please.
All right. So we're going to talk some statistical leaders here real quick as we roll through this episode. So we'll start off with the quarterback. We'll start off with some not good stuff. So guys right now with over 140 pass attempts, by the way, Matt, to give you some context there, Matthew Stafford leads the league in pass attempts with 166. The fewest out of a starter right now is a 4-game starter is Lamar Jackson with 105. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a variance there, but actually Zach Wilson has already thrown more than Lamar Jackson. Well, that makes sense. Actually.
Well, they've been playing from behind a lot more than Baltimore has.
They have been. So anyway, guys with over 140 pass attempts and below 1,000 yards passing so far, Joe Burrow is 151 pass attempts and just 728 yards. Everybody knows he's off to a bad start. 11.2 fantasy points per game.
It's been I understand why
he's not healthy.
They try to trot him out there.
No, he's not healthy at all.
This is the downside of playing in a hyper, competitive division and conference. They gotta sit him. They gotta make sure he's 100 because that O line, they've been trying to patch this O line up constantly and they just can't.
Yeah, and if he can't move, then
he's a sitting duck in pockets, and he's already fucking hurt.
Yeah,
there's no mobility, there's no movement for him in the pocket.
They should have played Jake Browning.
Against they should have just sat him and just eat the slow start.
You'd be 1-3 or 1-4. That how much? What's the difference?
They're an ugly 1-3 now, and they haven't been able to sit Burrow. So
it's an ugly game. Ugly team right now. You had Chase who went off a couple weeks ago. That was great, but last week he once again just did nothing.
It's you just have to eat it with Chase because you see the upside. Obviously, the 12 catches on 14 targets in week 3 against the Rams, but it's been their only win. And Burrow's timeout and single QB leagues.
Droppable, probably.
Droppable. I'm sorry. Yeah, at this point, what are you fucking waiting on? You got Stroud blowing up. If you have a bench deep enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But he doesn't offer rushing upside. So he's basically he's Zach Wilson, but with a bigger name. I think Zach Wilson, is outperforming him.
Yeah.
Well, even Sam Howell's outperforming him.
Sam Howell's been pretty good this year. Oddly. He's
doing really good right now, actually. He almost got 200
Then he just
yards.
got sacked. And then he just got blown.
He's also got 4 touchdowns, 5 picks, and he is
low expectations.
He's the last guy on this list we're actually going to talk about that's got 140 pass attempts under 1,000 yards. So
it does look pretty bad.
Yeah. So Mac Jones, 146 for 898. Not a great supporting cast around him, and I think that it's just kind of expected that's how New England was going to be. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is the other one here that's surprising. 943 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. It's not what we expected out of Jacksonville, especially after week 1.
It's I'm hearing OC problems. It's it's something to do with it's not Doug Peterson, and the team looks flat. A lot of, as Ryan mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of drop touchdowns from guys who, Calvin Ridley's dropped, I think, a couple.
Yes,
it's been rough sledding, but the Jags in general just have not looked like. I didn't watch the London game. I was still sleeping. I will mention. But it's not been pretty for them.
Yeah. All right, your yardage leaders so far this year. We'll switch gears. Sam Howell is playing right now, so. But yeah, he is about the same boat as Trevor Lawrence, really, a couple more picks, but
he's averaging more points per game than Trevor Lawrence.
That he is. Passing yard leaders, Tua's up there with 1,300, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, and CJ Stroud is 4th in the league in pass yards right now.
No picks?
No picks, 6 touchdowns. Could not have asked for a better start. And he's got receivers around him that are looking competent. Not
well-known receivers.
No, it's Nico Collins, and
Tank Dell. A little bit of Robert Woods. That's about it.
Yep.
And Dalton Schultz.
But Good on him. I mean, this is a better start to his career than I think a lot of us were expecting. Landon in Houston, we were kind of prepared for the first year to be mediocre, and so far it's not been.
He has been, as a lot of people would say, the best quarterback in the AFC South so far.
He has been.
Obviously for fantasy, you can say what you will about Richardson, but Stroud has looked
very good,
incredible, and Houston may have lucked into another quarterback that they'll piss off in 7 years straight away.
Indeed. And then probably your biggest name near the bottom, other than, well, your only real surprise is Joe Burrow being in the bottom third, 27th in yardage. Probably really the only big surprise there. Touchdown leaders, Kirk Cousins leads the league in touchdowns with 11 right now. Handful of guys behind him at 9. Jordan Love up there with 8, though.
Insane touchdown rate.
Yeah.
And
very
low completion percentage. Yeah. Love's played better than what I expected. I had pretty low expectations for him. Wasn't a fan of his film. So not really a big fan, but he's in fantasy points.
He's in the same realm touchdown rate wise as Russell Wilson, who historically runs a really, really high touchdown rate, efficiency, and Tua at the moment.
Yeah.
Are all in the same boat.
Yeah. We'll see if that holds up for Mr. Love. Very, very low completion percentage and just low overall EPA for most games.
Baker and Fields look like they might have a higher touchdown rate too. 7 on 120-ish attempts.
Baker's coming back, baby.
Oh my God, Ryan. Yeah, it's finally happening.
My resurrection here.
Outside against Philadelphia, which the whole team looked bad. Bayfield feeling confident, showing the swag. Apparently, the team fucking loves him. He took the O-line out to the Bahamas this year. He's all people say he's out regularly with Mike Evans and Godwin. Like,
all you gotta do is go further south.
Good
the further south you got, the better.
Good for him.
Love Baker. There's nothing more than what I wanted to see at Baker redemption. And there's a guy here in town that that I've been friends with here the past few months. Is a huge Bucks fan. He just talks shit about Baker. I'm like, I'm just telling you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's here.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know me.
Doesn't know.
He just doesn't know yet.
I don't give up.
He's also a big Pickett fan, which
sorry to hear. Sorry for your loss.
I kept telling him, my Pickett sucks. So just move on. It's okay.
Just put in Trubisky.
He's gonna be in now.
Jimmy G and Daniel Jones leading the league in interceptions. Garoppolo a little bit surprising there. Nobody's probably surprised about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is second in the league in rush yards. Justin Fields is actually 5th right now. Joshua Dobbs with more rush yards than Justin Fields.
Well, this is what happens when you have incompetent play calling the first 3 weeks. But Josh Dobbs, can we talk about Josh Dobbs?
We can
talk about relevant. Mr. Punt the football himself. He's looked good. Good.
I mean, he's the QB 20 by points per game, but from an NFL perspective, he's looked great.
I mean, 19-2 is more streaming points than Lawrence and
he's higher than Lawrence and Garoppolo.
He's a fine streaming option.
Or in Daniel Jones and some guys that were drafted for sure. He's a fine streaming option. You were right. Your leaders in points per game, we can throw out Andy Dalton. He only started 1. But Allen Herbert, Cousins to Anthony Richardson is 9th. Jordan Love is 10th. So a couple notables there. Brock Purdy at 15th. Very streamable.
I don't think any of these were shocking. So obviously Dalton, but this because one game.
I don't think so either.
Dak Prescott 16.4.
Yeah, pretty low. A lot lower than people were expecting.
Yeah, I was
good.
He's looking like a game manager out there. Only 43 rushing yards, 900 passing yards. Obviously, 1 pick, 4 touchdowns. So he's doing his best impression of rookie year Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
without the rushing yards.
Speaking of rushing yards, that's where we're headed. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is leading the world right now by just south of 100 over DeAndre Swift. for the rushing.
What do you
title.
think his MVP odds are? Do you think there's like, I know quarterback reigns supreme in this, but
Yeah,
he
If it was
literally
reality,
is San Francisco.
He's carrying the team.
He is.
He's carrying everything. Like he is. Oh my God. I don't ever want him to quit. I love McCaffrey.
Yep.
White chocolate out there just doing everything.
Some other notable things going on in the rushing yard department. We'll get to receptions here in a minute. There are two pieces. This James Conner's third, which is quietly pretty freaking good.
The
His
Arizona
2
Lions, man.
touchdowns, Yeah. Not
The Arizona
involved-
Lions of 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
we made mock Gannon's speech that he had there on good old Knox, but or not Knox, whatever he was on, but
Yeah.
the team is playing their fucking asses off. I've been very impressed by the Cardinals.
Yeah, they're playing to win, and they shouldn't be, but they're winning.
they're
They're making games competitive.
They blow out Dallas and everyone. I don't say they blew out Dallas, but they beat Dallas, so we're all happy about that.
Indeed. A-Chain is sixth in rushing yards, and he has about half the carries of anybody else in the top
Oh my
27.
Fuck.
27. McCaffrey's your rush touchdown leader right now. Some guys that are being tremendously inefficient with their carries. James Cook is not. Derrick Henry has been uncharacteristically inefficient. Just 285 yards and 73. I think Henry turns it around.
Yeah, I
Kinda
mean,
starting
last
to,
week
but-
was a big one too of seeing where the rebound after, was it 2 weeks ago, where I think he got like 2 yards rushing. Like it was pretty bad.
Everyone was ready for Tajay
This-
Spears at that time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been his odd low snap counts. Like it's been a lot of Spears.
Mhm.
You know, potentially if Tennessee kept losing, it looked like they were gearing up to trade Henry, show him off just enough, but not, not overwork him where you risk him getting hurt. But
Plus, Henry threw his fourth passing touchdown of his career. So the run and jump
you gotta love
pass.
it. It is.
Mhm.
The Tim Tebow of passes.
It is the Tim Tebow pass. Touchdowns, not a whole lot there. David Montgomery has 5 in 3 games, which is great. But McCaffrey and Mostert at the top of that. McCaffrey should surprise nobody. Receiving leaders right now, your highest back has 25 targets. That is Josh Jacobs.
Finally.
Yeah.
He's being used the way that people liked him coming out of Bama.
Just 1 touchdown, not super efficient in the run game, but
Very, he did that like negative yardage game, I think, a few weeks back.
Yeah, it's him and Miles Sanders, and then Bijan, Jalen Warren, Kyron Williams, and Christian McCaffrey, all 20 targets so far. So all pacing for, the 80 to 100 target range.
We had Jalen Warren on pace for 88 targets.
Nobody, and he's been really inefficient with it.
He's been worse than Najee. It's like, hey, let's utilize a least efficient back than Najee. It's backup.
But he's got so many targets. He's a target leader.
It makes no sense. Why? That's why Matt Canada should be fucking like oh, we're so football.
We're not making any
One of
changes.
you.
We like how our offense is
Yeah.
going. Okay.
All right.
I'm like,
This might be
come
what
on.
gets Mike Tomlin fired. It's unrelenting loyalty to Matt Canada. He must have incriminating pictures with somebody.
Got to.
It has to.
Got to. Your points per game leaders, McCaffrey, A-Chain, really up strength of 1 game. Eckler, who's only played 1 game.
Can we get Eckler back, please?
Next week. And
Yes.
let's see, David Montgomery's up there. Kyron Williams is up there.
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss is up there in top 12 range. Really, Joe Mixon at 26, given how bad that offense is, shouldn't be a surprise. Rashad White at 24 is about, I think, right where, I don't know, Dan, is that expectations for White being the very back end RB2, or were you expecting more out of him? You were the biggest fanboy.
I mean, it's been bad, but he's holding down the backfield despite very many claims of Sean Tucker and now Keyshawn Vaughn nipping at the heels. White was inefficient at times last year. He's a bigger upright runner, but Baker's giving him receiving work. It's just yeah. He's the RB2. I mean, it's a very replaceable range, but I mean, when you get to that 12 less points per game, they're all pretty much replaceable.
Yeah, and he's sitting at 12-1. Some other guys a little lower than expected. Derrick Henry, we already talked about. Etienne and Jacobs are at the 18-19, 13-9, and 14-5. Generally okay, but I think those are two guys people expected to be more up towards the top 5. Not in James Cook and Isaiah Pacheco range. Which James Cook, by the way, sitting in the same range is more of a compliment to him. As he's taking over that backfield. So
Miles Sanders 32, 23 target. Like we talked about him in target range, and
yeah.
What about? I know I don't know if we're going to get there, but what about Brian Robinson?
Fantastic, 9th in points per game, getting no pass catching work. So obviously
he has 3. He's 3 for 3 today for 38 yards right now.
Yeah,
and Gibson had a huge catch.
He did,
but it's been the Brian Robinson show.
Yeah, 61 for 261. He's been solid. I got him at 14th in PPR points.
Oh, but it's more.
Anyway, on to wide receivers. Continue to talk about leaders. Your target leader for wide receivers is Puka Nacua by 2 over Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, all over 40. Highest surprise, Tutu Atwell at 12, maybe?
Rams are throwing a lot. It's a good sign for for what Kupp could get and what we expected downhill, back down the earth, Puka. Rams are going to throw the football.
Yeah.
Like the return of Kupp is only a good thing.
Yeah. Romeo Doubs is also top 15 there in target volume. So that's interesting. Packers are still kind of what we're watching for somebody to break out. I've thrown a coin on Jaden Reed after the last couple weeks, but Dobbs is getting volume.
And this is still in the return of Watson, who's played for at least a couple games in this.
Mm-hmm.
Something to still keep note of. It may not pretty, but if Dobbs is going to continue to get this volume, that's a good flex option during those hellish bye weeks.
Yeah, he's not been super efficient with it, but I agree.
No.
No real surprises in the receiving game, though. Puka Nacua is probably a surprise, but not if you've been paying attention. He leads in receptions at 39, but behind that, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Chase, Tyreek Hill, Thielen, Pittman, ARSB. Zay Flowers is up there. Probably, other than Nacua, the most productive rookie receiver right now.
Yeah, the only other one. And even then, it's light years behind what we're getting from Puka.
Right. It's a lot back. Christian Kirk is up top 15 in that again. 2-2 again. Nico Collins. We talked about him earlier in the show. He's having a great start to his season. Averaging
wide receivers, man.
20 fantasy points a game. So, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Looking on the downside of this, not really a ton of surprises on the low end. Calvin Ridley fell off a little bit after week 1. A lot of people were expecting him to grab that, and we kind of said, hold on, wait a minute. He hasn't played in 2 years. Don't discount what Kirk's doing, and they've both been all right, but he's a bit down.
Yeah, a couple of drop touchdowns as we've gradually keep mentioning on the show. We'll do that to you. Just you can kind of look at that as a potential buy low too. He's getting the opportunities. Jacksonville, I would expect is going to right the ship. Doug Peterson takes back over, or they'll make the changes they need to make to get themselves back into division winning contention. So by that, I did say buy a little low on that really dip there.
Indeed. Yardage, Nico Collins is a surprise top 10 guy. And Puka again. Puka and Nico are going to be the two that I think consistently pop up as surprises here.
I would even give a nod to Pittman, just given people's expectations of the Colts offense. I was very low. He was a popular sell high or avoid because of the expectations of a Richardson-led offense was going to be pretty fruitless, less for their wide receivers. And Pittman, outside of points per game because touchdowns are low, he's been good for PPR leagues.
Yeah,
he's been very consistent too.
Yep. And a guy that shows up down here in the 30s that's up and coming that I think deserves a mention is Michael Wilson. In Arizona.
Oh yes.
Last couple weeks have been really, really good. If he's on waivers, you should have him. If you were in Dynasty, you should have picked him up on waivers 2 weeks ago. But rookie receiver with really good size there in Arizona, taking over on the outside.
I'm taking a victory lap on our draft. I did really good on our draft in one of our leagues.
Yeah.
Because he was one of my picks. I was like, hell yeah. Finally I'm doing something right.
Hell yeah.
By the way,
I'm paying attention.
Every now and then you find a little diamond in the rough.
Like they say, the blind squirrel finds a nut, which I'm still looking to see that.
There are only 3 position players over 100 points right now. It's Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and Christian McCaffrey. So wide receivers far outpacing running backs on points scored. The parity there is decent, to say the least. For receivers, your top receiver is outscoring the wide receiver 9 by 6 points a game right now. That's Justin Jefferson. You got also a pretty wide margin between 1 and 24 in points per game. It's like 12 points per there. Once again, shifting towards draft wide receivers early instead of running backs, because once you get outside of Christian McCaffrey, the delta in points per game is, well, really once you get outside of, there's a 4-point delta from McCaffrey to the pack, but then the delta from 2, which is Achane, down to 24 is 14 points. So,
yeah.
But it gets pretty clustered once you get down beyond running back 9 or 10 or so. Tight end position, just because your target leader at the tight end position right now is TJ Hawkinson, followed by Zach Ertz. But no touchdowns for Ertz and yardage not great. Then Ingram and Sam Laporta.
It's been a weird year for tight ends. Obviously, Kelsey missed in the first week. I mean, the whole week one was
even Kelsey
bad
does
for all
like
tight ends.
But Kelsey's still not even looking like Kelsey, so
No,
it's kind of hard. Like all tight ends.
I don't know what's like. Tight ends have just been like, people are like, buy high. I'm like, on who?
On who?
Like, sell high on Sam Laporta. For who?
For who?
Kelsey?
Right.
And I didn't see that. Sure, yeah, I get that, but like,
there's a 6
bag of dicks.
There's a 6-point difference right now between Mark Andrews points per game difference between Mark Andrews,
Josh
Wiley, and Josh Wiley, who's only played one.
Wiley's played one game.
Played one game, but Jake Ferguson. So, Hunter Henry is up there. Pharaoh Brown right now in points per game is your tight end 2 because he had one really big catch. That's how bad this is. One really big catch in 1 week, 2 targets, 2 receptions. You're the tight end 2 in points per game. You go by overall fantasy points right now, TJ Hawkinson leads the pack. But you don't have to go that far down to Cole Kmet at 3 to figure out that one big game makes a difference.
And Kmet's had a nice game. Obviously, Mark Andrews had the big 2-touchdown game last week.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk's probably been your most consistent, and it hasn't just been pretty.
He has.
Laporta's been the more consistent one.
Laporta, yeah. I mean, you're happy with both.
Yeah, as bad as it sounds, like it's like, you don't want to rely on a rookie tight end, but this year you actually, it's not bad looking.
At some point, historically, you're going to have to get some changes, and I guess it took this tight end, well, this one specific tight end, I guess, in this case.
Well, he eats all tight ends in yards.
We need it. I'll be honest. Yeah. We with Pitts being wasted away in Atlanta and some of these other guys not taking massive steps forward, it's Sam Laporta show.
Hawk, Ingram, Laporta right now.
It's
It's just like
In
we
Sam
expected.
Laporta's world, we're just living in it.
And just for fun, rookie kicker Brandon Aubrey is the kicker one
Yeah.
at the quarter point.
Let's
Things you
go.
love to see.
Jake Moody,
Not Jake Moody.
kicker 6. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You have 6 kickers over 40 fantasy points right now. You have 6 kickers in double digits. It's Moody, Fairbairn, Bass, Maher, Elliott, and Aubrey in double digit points per game.
Washington's making this game a game.
Yeah, this is what the Bears do.
They collapse.
They collapse.
They're driving. It's literally on the over under line. I'm like, hold them to 4th down and not let them get it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm literally what I'm praying for. I'm like, they're not going to go for a field goal. So let's go, for the love of God, please just don't let them score any points. I want a dirty win on a undercall.
Yep. All right. Checking in on teams. Most fantasy points allowed, top 4 to quarterbacks for the Broncos, Chargers, Colts, and Bears. Highest passing yardage allowed, top 4, Chargers, Seahawks, Broncos, and Colts. So Colts and Broncos right now seem like a decent start. 2 teams have given up double-digit pass touchdowns. It's the Bears and the Broncos. Broncos are booty cheeks, apparently. Most rushing allowed to a quarterback. The Cowboys actually giving up a ton of rushing on the ground. Colts, Commanders not far behind. So Colts and Broncos, names that keep popping up there.
Again, Broncos just shocked me. Touchdown, Curtis Samuel.
Yay, that helps no one.
Ugh, gross.
Woo, I got him.
Best team, your bottom 4 in points per game. It really will go bottom several because there's a clear delta from 27 below. So in order of don't start your quarterbacks, Panthers, Bills, Cowboys, Browns, Ravens, Patriots have all been really good against quarterbacks. Fewest touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks right now, really the same. Cowboy in passing. Cowboys, Texans, Patriots, Browns, Ravens, Rams. Fewest rush yards allowed to quarterback. Right now it's the Panthers again. Titans, Browns, Chargers, Bills, Patriots. Patriots across the board. Top 6 against the quarterback in the league. All right, a lot of more fun stuff.
I 8 picks the Bills have generated. I'm looking at.
Yeah.
The Texans have only given up 2 passing touchdowns.
Yep.
So is Dallas.
Yeah, 8
That's
picks. 7 picks for the Cowboys. 6 for the Bucks.
It's gonna probably change against San Fran Sunday night, but Jesus, like that's Denver. I'm just shocked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the fuck happened?
All right, running backs. 3 teams have given up less than 200 yards rushing so far this year. They just pick out the 2. That was the worst 2-point try ever. 3 teams have given up less than 200 rush yards this year. They are the Eagles, Lions, and 49ers. Rushing yards allowed right now. The Broncos are tops there because they're ass. But Broncos, Steelers both giving up over 500 yards, over 450. You can add in the Panthers, Giants, Packers. So apparently you can run against the Panthers, but not throw against them.
I mean, it's also, when you look at these, also take into account some of these games could have been
really
game scripted.
Yeah.
Which is why, if you look at, as you mentioned, the bottom of the teams here, San Fran, Detroit, Philadelphia, all have had, I think, multiple blowout wins. So
they have.
Those cases would make sense.
Yep. No touchdowns allowed to running backs right now. The Falcons, Bucks, Browns, Saints, and Ravens all have yet to give up a rushing touchdown.
Interesting. Bucks won't because they're on bye week.
No, they will not. Receiving yards allowed and receiving yards in general. This is Chargers, Broncos, and Bears giving up the most receiving yards to backs. Again, this goes into just who teams have played and things like that. We're not going to get that deep into it.
Yeah.
Broncos, Bears, Cardinals giving up the most receiving touchdowns. Points per game. Broncos, Bears, Cardinals, Panthers giving up the most points per game to running backs. Fewest Eagles, Browns, Cowboys. And I mean, the Broncos are just ass at everything. Chargers giving up the most passing yards. Shouldn't surprise anybody that's been paying any attention. Seahawks are second, Vikings third, Steelers fourth. Not surprising to anybody.
Nope.
Browns giving up the fewest passing yards.
Browns have been very good.
The defense,
Offense
especially.
hasn't quite. Yeah, the offense hasn't quite matched the defense. The Browns' defense has been phenomenal.
Cowboys' defense has been solid too, and really the Falcons not giving up a ton through the air either.
Yeah.
Fewest receiving touchdowns. Browns, Texans, Cardinals. Texans defensive coach, right? But they've also been pretty good.
Injuries are starting to hit up, may start to catch up to Houston, but
Yeah.
Losing their top two outside corners isn't ideal.
Right. Lions are worse than the league against the tight end, giving up 303 yards. Worst points wise against the tight end, the Jets. Jets, Broncos, Eagles, Bengals, all averaging double-digit points given up to tight end.
Of course, Broncos top.
Exactly.
It's just bad.
Play against the Broncos.
Yep.
Play all your Jets players, even Zach Wilson.
All right. I'm done with that. Not a ton of surprises right now.
No.
Not a lot turned up. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the previews. I don't really have a lot to recap. Previews this week. So you got Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, Bucks on bye. Just want to throw some guys out there for potential bye week substitutions. Julian McLaughlin. Obviously with Javonte not playing, he looked good in pinch hit duty last week. He looked good in preseason. I was on a lot of rosters and dropped by a lot of people because he didn't really have a role. He's going to have one. If he's not been picked up yet, he should be. Johnny Smith off of a big week. Another decent matchup for him. Texans defense has been good, but Johnny is clearly outpacing Kyle Pitts in that offense, and they're utilizing him. So you got a tight end that's utilized. Use it. We talked about Michael Wilson. Terrace Marshall has seen his snap share and target volume go up each of the last 3 to 4 weeks. So lean on that if you need some floor. Adam Thielen's been solid. Sam Howell's playing tonight. Anybody else that you guys can think of as bye week streamers that might be out that you might be advocating to plug in that have been playing well?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Zach Ertz, man. I'm still going back to the well on Zach Ertz, especially when it comes to tight ends. Just because in 3 of his last 4 games, he's had 8+ targets. Week 3, even I said they go up against Dallas, don't play him. San Francisco, I was very hesitant, and he saw 10 targets, but only turned it into 6 for 53, and once again missed another touchdown. So he actually could have had 2 touchdowns already this season. He has 0. Eventually, he's going to catch a touchdown, and he's going to have a double-digit week. This could be his week, especially against Cincinnati Bengals.
Man, the Bears are playing not to lose right now, and that's not going to go well.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins hurt.
Mm-hmm.
7, 8, and 9 his targets the last 3 weeks. Since he's obviously been playing a lot more from behind, but offense hasn't been great. He's not lighting the world up with his production. But in a what could be a sneaky decent scoring matchup against the Cardinals, because the Cardinals are playing tough. A lot of focus on Chase. You could see Tyler Boyd start making more of a PPR noise for some of your early bye weeks. I got him plug and play in a few leagues.
All right.
Come on, Chris. You gotta say his name. There's one more guy left.
There's one more guy left.
Yes, a sleeper this week.
It might be my streamer this week. Got Denver. We on the same page?
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
No, then go ahead.
Gabriel Davis, man, against Jacksonville and London.
Santa Claus.
Gabe Davis.
He's showing up.
Definitely a plug-in this week. He's not on waivers, so I wasn't counting him as a streamer, but he's definitely a start.
Santa Claus coming alive, doing what he does.
So I tipped my streamer this week. Zach Wilson against the Broncos. The Broncos have been total ass. He looks like he found something last week. Good matchup, good opportunity for him to build on, what looked much, much better for him last week. So Zach Wilson's my streaming call at quarterback. If you don't have Justin Herbert and need a pinch hit, or Geno Smith, or Baker Mayfield,
CJ Stroud if he's available.
CJ Stroud, if he's available, he may not be. But Zach Wilson definitely is.
He's a guy.
He's the
that's
MILF hunter.
worth the stream. Now there really isn't any other quarterbacks.
No, there's really not.
No, I think Wilson might be.
Oh, that's what I looked at too.
That's the lowest of lows you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much lower you can go after that.
He can't go any lower.
You really can't. And
it's been low too much.
Even tight end wise, you can't really go super low, and there's nothing to stream in the running back game.
Have fun predicting tight ends. Like, seriously. Kyle Pitts is being used in all the ways you want to see Kyle Pitts be used, like split out wide, split in slot.
And
he leads all tight ends and yards. Desmond Ridder is fucking trash.
Hey, now
he's fucking trash. Arthur Smith is actually teeing up what could be some pretty big Pitts moments if Ridder didn't fucking suck. Signed off by all Kyle Pitts managers in your fantasy leagues.
Yeah. All right, games to target. Dolphins, Giants. There's a lot of games to target this week, actually. Dolphins, Giants, Patriots. We just talked about being tops near everything, so maybe I should move that to a fade. That was a bias that just got changed. But yeah, Dolphins, Giants should be great for the Dolphins.
Rams, Eagles.
Rams, Eagles will be a good one. Jets, Broncos for the Jets. Cardinals against the Bengals. Yeah. Games to avoid. Ravens, Steelers, Titans, Colts, divisional matchups. So those always get a little black and blue, and I guess the Saints against the Patriots. Kind of a meh week.
Yeah. It's not that bad of a bye week until we hit like week 7 where we're trying to guess really what to plug and play in, because I think that's where 6 teams are on bye.
Yeah.
Week 7 has 6.
Mm-hmm.
Cincy, Dallas, Tennessee, Jets, Panthers, Texans.
This is your last week without. Last week was your last week without buys until the playoffs start. So
be prepared.
Yep. Be ready for it.
Yeah, It's gonna come. Look ahead.
Indeed. That's all I got. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye.
Peace. Bye.
See ya.